question comes from Mr. Gabriel Lapid. Is that
Yes.
how you pronounce your last
Thank
name?
you, Betty.
Hi.
Good evening, gentlemen. Magandang gabi po. Thank you for listening to my question tonight. My name is Gabriel Mendoza Lapid. I am a student at the University of Guam, and I am a graduate of the local public school system. I have been discouraged, not because I believe that I received an inadequate education, but because I have heard many people question the ability of the school system to offer an adequate education. Yet, many public school students move on to succeed in the workforce and in colleges on Guam and around the world. Therefore, something in the Department of Education must be working properly. In your opinion, what is working properly, and what will you do to enhance it if you are elected? Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriel. Well, first of all, I think that anywhere in the United States, the chief executive of every state is not removed from the function of education. Guam was, 1994 till very recently when they reconstituted the board. They reconstituted it again. But this time they are allowing the governor of Guam to step in and be part of the delivery of education on Guam. Number one, that I think that's going to be really good for the governor to be in there is that if in fact you say healthcare and education are number one, because they got to go together. If you're not healthy, you're not going to go to school. And if the legislature gives you an appropriation for, let's say, $180 million for the Department of Education, then you make darn sure that the control you have on the Bureau of Budget and Management Research says that you do not give anybody else money until you comply with giving the Department of Education and the health agencies their money first. That's what you say. Health is number one, education is number one. So by having the money that you can depend on coming in on the allotment release, then you can really plan for it. No more announcement that we may not have classes on Monday because no one is releasing the cash from DBMR. That's the fallacy of the system, and I'm saying that now in January, I get to appoint several members of the board, and working together with the elected board, I think we're going to come up with a good system of giving the real cash into the department.
There is a lot to say what is good at happening at Department of Education. That's the problem sometimes with the news. They only focus on the bad. In my opponent's administration, there was a 38% graduation rate at Department of Education. You saw the most recent statistics. 3 out of every 4 high school students at our public school systems are graduating now. And of course, it's a collaborative effort. A legislature's got to work with the governor, with the board, and the superintendent, and you got to work together. You can't fight, you can't take it over. As a senator, what I did was, again, priority in funding. We also kept it away from allotment controls, so there was a steady flow of monies there. As governor, I'll do the same thing. It'll be the top priority in terms of spending in the budget. We're going to have a top-level liaison at Adelup that will be there to work with the Department of Education on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, because there are partnering agencies. The governor has control of the finances, so every day we're going to make sure that DOA and BBMR is in touch with Department of Education. There are partnering agencies such as Public Health, who has consumers that are also in DOA, Public Works, which has the bus system. They will be working in tandem towards ensuring that there is a smooth continuity of services. And then there's the bigger picture, our Classroom to Careers initiative. Ray and I and our administration will work with the private sector, find out what are the jobs coming up in the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years, give it to DOE, give it to UOG and GCC, and say, can you build the right curriculum to get our people on those jobs? Thank you.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Gabriel, for that question. Maraming salamat po. You know, when you talk about the public educational system, you have to believe in it first. All 4 of my children attended public school. The oldest one decided to graduate from a public high school. The other 3 were given options as to which school they wanted to go to. And my oldest boy, and I stand here proudly saying that when he took that exam to enter his father's alma mater, Father Duenas, he scored in the 95th percentile. That tells you that there's some wonderful things were happening in the public educational system that my son and my children received. And today, my daughter is going to the University of Guam. My son's going to the University of Guam. My youngest boy is graduating from Father Dueñas next year only because he chose to go in that direction. I believe in our public school system. I believe in our teachers. I believe Governor Gutierrez and I, you already heard from him, that we're going to make sure that education receives the first allotment. Otherwise, if you're going to shut down a school and not pay power, guess what? The first power that's going to go off is the one in the governor's office and the lieutenant governor's office until such time that we provide the resources to our education agencies as well as our healthcare agencies. You have to believe in the system. I believe in it. Governor Gutierrez had one of his children attend public schools. Ladies and gentlemen, we have wonderful teachers in our public school system, and I can assure you we're going to give them the resources so that they can continue to educate our students so that they can go to Guam Community College or they can go to the University of Guam and continue their education. This is Masi. Maraming salamat.
When we talk about the things that are working good within our system, we have to recognize the fact that my partner's right. It's the employees, those men and women who work every single day with our kids, who give them the guidance, who give them the education, because that's the cornerstone of our economy, making sure that people have the wisdom to be able to get a job. But ladies and gentlemen, when Frank Aguon talks about believing in our kids and believing in the education system, he gave less money with a bigger budget to DOE than Eddie Calvo did the next year. You want to put your money where your mouth is, then do the job. Don't talk about how much you support them and then not give them the amount of money that they need. And when it really comes down to it, ladies and gentlemen, not only did Eddie Calvo's and my kids go to school at the University of Guam, many of our kids go to school at the University of Guam. What we need to do, we need to give them more scholarships. And Eddie Calvo and I will make sure that we not just increase the scholarships, but increase and make sure, find new scholarships. Because we're not just about talking the talk, it's about walking the walk. The Calvo-Tenorio administration will not just say we're going to do something, we'll get it done. Thank you.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, I think our opponents
Senator Aguon, there is
have
no...
short-term memory. I think I should respond to
There's no
this.
rebuttal time,
He made
sir.
a direct statement.
There's no rebuttal time, sir. There's no rebuttal time. No one had one. Thank you. All right, we're going to
I
move
think
on
that's
to our
very
next...
unfortunate, Patty.
No one had a rebuttal time, so I'm going to move on to the next question before we are almost ready to end this last segment.